Disappearing without a word makes them look detached, valuable, and hard to access. But in reality, ghosting is usually not a flex. It is fear wearing a mask. It is emotional avoidance disguised as strength. Because when you vanish without explanation, you are not controlling the situation. You are surrendering control to your fear of confrontation. You are allowing silence to speak for you because you lack the discipline to communicate directly. And in 2026, where everyone is connected, screenshots live forever, social circles overlap, and reputations spread instantly, ghosting is becoming one of the fastest ways to destroy your social value. Because true dominance is not about disappearing. True dominance is about closing doors with absolute clarity. Ghosting has become the default behavior in the modern dating world because technology has made people emotionally lazy. Dating apps turned people into profiles. Social media turned people into disposable options. And instant access created the illusion that there is always somebody better waiting one swipe away. So instead of developing communication skills, emotional intelligence, and leadership, people choose the easiest route: silence. They disappear because it feels easier than dealing with discomfort. They avoid the awkward message. They avoid the hard conversation. They avoid looking like the bad guy. But the truth is that ghosting does not remove discomfort. It transfers it. You push confusion, frustration, and emotional burden onto the other person while convincing yourself you stayed clean. But you did not stay clean because every unresolved interaction leaves behind an open psychological loop. Your brain remembers unfinished business. That is why people keep checking old chats. That is why they revisit old profiles. That is why they wonder if they should send one last message. Because silence creates uncertainty, and uncertainty drains mental energy. You may think ghosting gives you freedom, but often it traps you inside unresolved tension. The message you never sent becomes mental clutter. The conversation you avoided becomes emotional baggage. The truth you refused to speak becomes another crack in your own character. Because every time you avoid confrontation, you train yourself to become weaker under pressure. And that is dangerous because modern masculine character is built through pressure, not avoidance. A man who cannot handle a simple ending will eventually struggle to handle conflict, leadership, business negotiations, difficult employees, relationship problems, and life itself. Most people think ghosting only affects the other person. Wrong. It affects your reputation, and reputation matters more than ever. The world is smaller than you think. People talk, friend groups overlap, co-workers date each other, communities connect, and the man who is known for disappearing without explanation develops a low-value reputation. He becomes the guy people cannot trust, the guy who lacks integrity, the guy who seems confident at first but folds the moment pressure appears. Social status is not built only on how charismatic you are when things begin. It is built on how you behave when things end. Anybody can be charming during attraction. Anybody can perform confidence during excitement. But the ending reveals your real level. Can you communicate clearly? Can you remain composed during discomfort? Can you speak directly without emotional leakage? Or do you disappear like a frightened boy hiding behind a screen? There is also a physiological cost. Unresolved tension creates stress. Your nervous system does not like unfinished conflict. It keeps the body alert. It keeps the mind circling back. That is why people who avoid confrontation often feel anxious, distracted, restless, and emotionally drained. They think they are protecting their peace, but avoidance rarely creates peace. It creates a low-level internal chaos. Real peace comes from resolution, from clarity, from saying exactly what needs to be said and moving forward without emotional debt. That is why confrontation should not be seen as a burden. It is a skill, and in modern life, it is one of the most valuable high-status skills you can develop, because the people who can handle uncomfortable conversations with calm precision automatically command more respect. A graceful exit is not dramatic, it is not emotional, it is not a long paragraph full of guilt, excuses, or over explanations. A graceful exit is short, direct, and clean. You communicate finality without hostility. You provide clarity without emotional leakage. You close the loop. For example, I enjoyed getting to know you, but I do not think we are the right fit long term. I wanted to be honest instead of disappearing, wishing you the best. That is it. No essay, no mixed signals, no maybe someday, no fake promises to stay in touch. Another example, I appreciate the time we spent together, but I do not see this progressing further. I wanted to be respectful and communicate directly. Again, simple, clear, final. And notice the difference between being nice and between being clear. Many people hide behind niceness. They say things like, maybe later, I'm just really busy, or I'm not ready right now. Those phrases sound polite, but often they create confusion. They keep the other person emotionally attached. They leave the door cracked open. And that is not kindness, that is weakness, because true kindness is clarity. True respect is honesty, and true social dominance comes from your ability to communicate difficult truths without losing your composure. When you give closure, you eliminate future problems. You stop the endless checking. You stop the random late night text. You stop the zombie effect where people reappear months later because nothing was ever properly resolved. Closure protects your time. It protects your focus. It protects your emotional bandwidth, because lingering uncertainty is expensive. It keeps people emotionally stuck. It creates unnecessary drama. It keeps old chapters alive long after they should have ended. But when you become the person who closes loops, everything changes. You become more respected, more trusted, more decisive. You stop reacting to social situations emotionally and start leading them strategically. You dictate the terms of the end. You show that you are capable of handling discomfort without collapsing into avoidance, because the strongest people are not the ones who avoid hard moments. They are the ones who can move through hard moments with discipline. And this is bigger than dating. This is about how you operate in every part of life. Do you avoid difficult conversations with friends? Do you ignore problems in business? Do you leave text unanswered because you do not want to deal with reality? Do you allow unresolved situations to pile up until they become emotional chaos? If so, it is time to change. Because accountability is attractive, leadership is attractive, clarity is attractive. The man who can communicate directly becomes dangerous in the best possible way. He becomes trustworthy, he becomes respected, he becomes impossible to manipulate because he is not controlled by fear. So think about the conversations you have been avoiding. Think about the unresolved endings. Think about the people still living in uncertainty because you never said what needed to be said. Then fix it. Send the message. Close the loop. Lead with intent. Because you are not a ghost. You are a strategist. And strategists do not disappear. They make decisions. They communicate clearly. And they move forward without looking back. Subscribe to @EvoLeveX for more content on discipline, masculinity, leadership, and elite self-development. Visit EvoLeveX.com, and if you are looking for career guidance, education planning, study abroad pathways, or professional growth opportunities, visit vidyainfinity.com. Evolve, elevate, excel.